Welcome back. In this class, we'll be dealing with the auto margin, ordering, and wrapping. So, without further ado, let's get our hands dirty. So, let's enter here. I have a class of deflex. You can see this the deflex. I told you already that this row H1 is the border. So it's not a CSS, it's not a Bootstrap class. So this is hard coding. We did that by ourselves. So deflex. So we want to start ordering it. So you can see the ME auto simply means margin end auto. So if we want to apply that, so let's apply margin end auto to the first element. So we see how it applied to the element on our screen. So we now say ME margin end auto. So you can see the margin end auto pushes the second item, the second and the third item to the right side of the screen. So it pushes them to the end. So that is what margin end does. So if you want to use it, ensure that you use it for the first element of that particular item. That is the first item on those items in that container. So that it will push it to the end, so that when you apply it, let's assume that, let me give you practical. I apply the margin end to the last element here. So let's see. So margin end, you see there is no effect. So because it only pushes any item at the front to the end. So that is what margin end does. So you put it for the right application to the right item on the screen. So let's apply break here. So you can see margin end. So the next we'll be dealing with is margin start. So it's the opposite of margin end. So you will apply it at the last item, call it margin start auto. So you can see. So but before then, ensure that you had our deflex. The container is flex. You can see the opposite pushes to the start. So that is how to apply the margin start and margin end. So here we have what we call, you can say deflex. Then let's apply it at the middle. So okay, this is margin bottom. So let's apply it here. Now say margin bottom auto. So you see it still remain the same. So let's use it margin bottom auto. So because the element here doesn't have a height, so we don't know. So if we want to add, let's put a height here. So let's apply an inline style here. We give it a height of 10 rem. So you can see 10 rem. So let's apply, remove it, and put it on one of the elements. Paste. You can see, imagine the button is auto now. So that's how to apply the margin of button auto. So let's move on. Then we have the margin top auto. So let's still say deflex. So if you want to check it out, you can still apply the style height of 10 rem. So you can see my height of 10 rem. So the element here apply to the first one. So let's apply to the second one now. Now say margin top auto. So you can see. So let's move on. So the next thing we have now, we have no wrap. So with let's move on. So let's see, this is the item, the container. Now we have what we call deflex. So this deflex, can see the item has been flexed. So if we resize the screen, and you can see the item is fully flexed. So let's go back. The item is fully flexed. So now if we take a look at the element here, so if we start resizing, you can see the element, there is no wrap. That is the default, there is no wrap. So now what we need to do now is to ensure that the element wrap when you get to the end of the screen. So let's wrap it up now. So let's go to the second element that have flex. So this is the element that have wrap. So we now say D flex. Then we now say flex wrap. So you can see that instead of it to overflow from the parent element, it wrap inside the parent element, which is the container. So you can see this one because we flex it but doesn't wrap, so it overflow from the container. So this one has a wrap, it didn't overflow for the parent element, which is the container. So if we resize now, you will see it will be wrapping. You can see. So you can see it wrap. So that is the use of flex wrap and no wrap. So the order we'll be facing now on this screen is the ordering. So we did it in our, I think, third to second of our previous course. So if we check it out now, so we are still dealing with it here now. So let me add a background to it so that you will see it appropriately. Info just the way I did it the other time. BG info, BG warning, and BG danger, and BG danger. So you can see now the ordering. So we had the deflex. You can see it has flexed it. So now what we need to do now, we need to order it. So remember, this is the last one. So let's say this is the third. So we need to add order one. So we want to change the position, order 3, order 2. You can see the order 1 now, if you look at it, the third has become the first, and the second has become the third. You can see, and the first has become second because we ordered the info color. If you look at it, the info color, we order it as 2. That's why it's in second position. We ordered the danger, which is the third flex item, as the first. That's why it's in the first position. And the warning, which is the second flex item, so we order it 3. That is why it's in the last position. So that is how ordering work, but you must display the container, which is the parent element, as deflex. So this is where we stop this class. So I will see you in the next lesson. In this class, we'll be dealing with the carousel in the Bootstrap sandbox. So without further ado, let's get started. So we have a class of carousel, then we have slide, then we have a database, right? We call it carousel. Then we now have our ID, we call it slide 1, because while we give it slide, then we'll have different type of slide in this our carousel. So this is the first slide. Then the next thing, we have a class of carousel carousel inner. So under the carousel inner now, we now have a class called carousel item. So you can see our carousel here. You can see this image. This image is gotten from Unsplash. So let's give kudos to Unsplash for providing this image for us. So you can get the link through this URL here. So just apply this link here through this URL. So you will get the image on your screen. So while connected to the internet. So we move on. So our carousel now, if you look at the image here, you can see we have a class that we will apply to the image so that the image will look fitted to the screen. So we have to change it to block element, because if you look at it, the image is an inline element. So change to block element, then we now change it to img. So fluid, img fluid, sorry, img fluid. So we have what we call img fluid. We have the D block. So let's check the image art. So you can see image here, the item. So let's work on the other image. Then we can have a class of active here. So the next thing we're doing here, so you need the image have to have the 100% width. So the image has to have 100% width. So this is the item here. So we have to give it width of 100%. So you can see the width of 100%. So let's copy it and paste it for the rest item. So let's copy this class here, paste it here. All the image need to have a width of 100%. So you can see our image is responsive now. You can see our image is responsive. So that is our, you can see our slide. So we have cursor, so it's active. So you have to ensure that the first element have the active class, so that there will not be confliction on what you are doing. So the first element we have the active class. So let's have our break here. Let's have our break here. So let's break it. You can see, yes, you can see the element now. You can see the carousel is sliding. You can see slide. So now there's what we have to apply also to the carousel. We call it data bs interval. So we can say 1000 milliseconds. So we see it to be fast. You can see 1000 milliseconds. You can see how it fast. So if we want to make it more faster, so we can change it to 100 milliseconds. You can see the speed. You can see the speed. Ooh, that is awesome. So let's change it to 3 seconds. 3 seconds is the default. So let's change it to 5 seconds so that it will be going in a good order. So I will also teach you, if we start the project, I will teach you how to make the transition seamless, so that when it transites from one image to another, It will not be fast, it will go seamlessly. So I will teach you how to apply that transition to that particular carousel. So let's change it to default 2. Let's change it to 3 is the default, but we are using 2 now. So let's move on. This is our simple carousel. So now the next carousel we'll be doing is the slider with control. So let's copy this simple carousel now so that we will not be repeating ourselves. Simple carousel, let's go paste it here. Excuse me. So let's, okay, there's an error in copy, so let's copy it properly. Let's paste it here. Save changes. So let's break it. Let's break it so that there will be a space between the images. So if you want to change the image, you can apply, change the image. So change the image, applying different. So this is how we change the image. So the first one, good. So now we have applied our image. So now we want to apply what we call a slide with control. So how do we do that? So if you look at the carousel here, we have what we call inner. So let's apply it now. So this is the inner. So under the, if you look at it now, this is the carousel inner. Ensure that you are in the inner. Yes, after the inner now, we have what we call control. We have the button. We use the button. Enter. Then we have a class of carousel control. Call it carousel control priv. That is the first thing with the class we will apply. You now have a data bs target. Remember our slide, so turn it to slide 2 because we have slide 1 already. So which means we have to change this slide to slide 2 so that we not have same thing with the slide 1. So you can see, good. So we have the carousel control brief and the data target. We have what we call slide 2. So we also have what we call data vs slide. We apply what we call brief to it. So you can see we are getting our class ready. So inside here we now have a span. We now call it carousel control brief icon. So we have what we call carousel control brief icon. If you can check it, you will see the icon is already there. You can see carousel control brief icon is already there. So what we need to do, we have to copy this button here, copy it and paste. Then we change this brief, we change it to next. Then this brief here, change it to next. Then this brief, change it to next. Think that is all we need. So if you check it out now, you see, you can see previous, next, previous, next. You can see we have applied our carousel with control. So our carousel now have a control. So let's copy our carousel here so that we will know we will not repeat what we have been doing so far. So copy it, then let's paste it here. So we have pasted it. So what we need to change, so let's add a break here. So what we need to change, we change this slide to slide 3. So let's go down to the slide here, change this slide to 3, then change this slide to 3. So what we need to do now, we need to move straight to after or before the inner. So before the inner, we have the on order list. We now say carousel indicator, carousel indicators. You can see this is our carousel indicator. Then we have the list. Then we now have a class of active. So under this class of active, then we have what we call the data bs target. So we have a slide 3, then we have a data bs slide 2, data bs slide 2. So we start with the 0, then we have it already. Then we copy the list item, then we paste, then we get rid of the active, from the third and second element. So as you can see our carousel is up and running. So if you take a look of it now, you will see the carousel indicator. So you can see this carousel indicator is there. So carousel indicators is appealing. So now you can see our error here. So we change it to 3, not 2. 3, change it to 3. So let's check it out. This our carousel indicator. So, and again another error. So let's fix it. Here is 1 and here is 2. So we start 0 1 2, 0 1 2. So you can see our carousel now. You can see it's working now. You can see the indicator, carousel indicator. This carousel indicator 1, indicator 2, indicator 3. Next, prev. So that is all about carousel indicator. So what we'll be looking at is carousel with capture. So let's copy now. Let's copy this our carousel that we have done here. So let's copy it, the indicator, copy. So let's paste it here. So let's paste it here. So what we'll be doing now is the capture. So how do we add the capture? So we go into the carousel item. Under the carousel item, that is where we add our capture. So our caption now will be under the image. So this is the carousel item. Excuse me. So we now say carousel caption. And say carousel caption. So under this carousel caption, we can now have our h2 element. So we can have a class of display 3. We call it heading 1. So we can now have a paragraph of lead class. Then we now say lorem, just say lorem 5. You can see our caption here. So it's too much. You can reduce the text, and we can change this to 2, the heading to 2. Okay, 2 is much. Let's change it to 4. As you can see our caption now. So it's up and running. So if we want to get, we can copy here, copy the caption. So let's copy, let's leave that by default. So let's change this to the caption now. Let's change it to, let's say test end. That is for the second. So that is, we use test end. So let's check the second one. Carousel. What is the problem? So okay, it didn't work there. So let's move it to the item. Cut it. This is the, where is the item? This carousel item here. So let's paste it here. So the test is not working there. So let's remove test. So I will put it under the, so it will be apply. So let's see what is happening to my carousel. To my carousel indicator. Okay. So let me check it out. Yes, the problem is I've not changed the slide. This is slider 4. Change slide 4, slide 4, slide 4. So don't, if you use the same slide for all, you have a problem. So that is what I'm sorting out now. So slide 4, slide 4. So that is where we have our problem. You can see it's working now. So let's move on and sort it out, our text. So we can now change the caption now. So the caption, we leave the first one, that is default. So the caption here, you can say test end. So let's check it out. Let's check it out. So because it's, let's increase it so that we will see it properly. Let's increase it so that we see our carousel properly. You can see the test end. You can see it's at the end. So this is the default. This is the end. So let's put it at the middle. So let me scroll up and see something. So the default, so this is the our carousel capture. So this is our carousel capture, we have applied it. So here we can change here. Where is the second one? This is the second one. So we can change here to 2. Can change here to 2. Yes. So let me resize it back. Cool. So that is our carousel. So we have done with the carousel from this this class. So I will see you in the subsequent lesson. So before then, so let's just go through it again. You can see the normal carousel. You can see carousel with control, carousel with indicator, and carousel with the capture. So that is how we have gone so far on the carousel. So I will see you in our subsequent lesson. Welcome. In this section, we'll be dealing with the collapse button and the accordion in this particular section. So let's get started. So this is our button. So we can add class here, class of btn, outline primary. So let's add break here. Add the break there. So you can see the btn here of button. So the next thing we'll be applying now is the bootstrap toggle. We call it collapse. So we have the data bootstrap toggle now, which is the collapse. Then we now have data bootstrap target. Then we'll call it collapse. Let's give it collapse btn. Cool. So here we have a class of collapse. Then we have id of collapse btn. So here let's give it a class of card, and let's have a class of card body. So let's click at the button now and see. Cool. We don't have the collapsible, so let's check why is it not collapsing. So let's check the id database target. We have the collapse. Okay, we have an error here. It's collapse. So check it file, click at it. You can see it's collapsible now. You can see it's collapsible. You see the collapse is working. So let's have the MD button. Let's give it 2. Check it out. Wow, I had it in the wrong place instead of class. Where is my class? Is the class. Cool. You can see now MD button. Let's add 5 so that it will be clear. 5 is too much. 3 will be okay. 3 will be okay. So let's check it out. What did I did? Okay, something wrong here. So 3 will be okay. Click. You can see the collapsible now. Collapsible button. So you can also change here to the href. You can use anchor tag to achieve that. So you can use the anchor tag. So if you are using the anchor tag, instead of database target, we use the href. Use the href to get that. You can see the href. You can see still do work the same thing. So either you use the href or you use the button. Then when you are using button, use database target. So that is how to achieve that. So let's move on. So the next is the accordion. So let's start. We enter the class of accordion. This is our accordion. Then we have an id here. An id, we call it accordion. Then here we now have a class of accordion item. That is our accordion item. So here you can now have what we call the class of, let's give it either this heading now. So we can give it a card if we wish, but let's give it other thing, because if you see the heading now, so we can call it accordion header. So we give it accordion header. So then here we can have a class of display. I'll give it display 2. You can see display 2. So you can say font width, let's say bold. Cool. Wow. So let's add display one. Display one instance. Okay, let's give it 4. I think 4 would be okay. 4 is okay. So you can see our collapse one. So under here you have href. Put our href. You can use button also, but we are using the href in this manner. So let's have it. So let's have a collapse. Let's call it accordion. Accordion one. So call databs toggle collapse. So databs target. So okay, we have it there already. So we have this here. We don't need target here anymore since we have it there. So let's move on. So under the parent element here, we can now have a class called, because I told you if we are using button, we use target. So if we are using the anchor tag, we can use href to get it. So let's move on. Then we now have accordion collapse. Then we have what we call collapse. Then we can say show as the first element. Then under here we can now have a class of card. Can now have a class of card. Can always call it okay, let's say accordion, not card. Let's use accordion body. So let's use the accordion body. So let's check it out. So then we can now have what we call data under here. Let's come to the parent element. You can say data bs parent. So this parent simply means accordion. If you look at our first, check it out, you can see this our first, we have the accordion here. This is the accordion, this is the parent. So it will appear in all the accordion item. So accordion collapse 1, collapse 2. So you can see we have the first one here. So we have the first one here. We check it out. We said to show. So let's see. Now accordion collapse show data parent accordion. So accordion body. So you now have, if you check it now, we're gonna have, if you see here, you have the accordion one. So the accordion one, we have to have an ID here, an ID that will toggle the accordion one. So we have call it accordion one because it will toggle the collapse here. Collapsible, so accordion. Okay, one. Okay, we have the one. So ensure that you follow it so that you won't have an error. So you can see how it does. So I will repeat that in the accordion 2 so that it will stick to your muscle memory. So here we have a class of accordion item. So this is the accordion item here. So we can have a class of accordion header, then class of display 3. You can see. So we have the href. So now the href now will be accordion. This is the second accordion. So it will call accordion 2. So we now have data bs toggle. Now we call it collapse. Database stock, we call it collapse. So here we now have a class of accordion collapse. Accordion collapse. Then we now have ID of accordion 2. Accordion 2, you can see it now. We have a 2 element there. Database collapse. So remember here we have a font width. We say bold. So that is why it's bold here. You can see now. So you can see. So here we can now have our class of accordion body. See our accordion body. So level 1, the last thing we had here is called database parent. Database parent. So we now have what we call accordion, which is the parent element. It's called accordion. You can see it's collapsing, absolute collapse. So let's check out the display. This display is bigger than the other one, so I think it's display 4. So we have cool. You can see it now. Accordion. You can see it's collapsing. When you open this, that one collapse. When you open this, the other one collapse. So you can see the accordion, how it works. You can see how the accordion works. So let's enter the last one. I think this last one now, it will stick to your muscle memory. So we have a class of accordion. This is the class of accordion. So item, so don't forget accordion item. Then we have a class of display 4. I'm sorry. So accordion header, accordion header. So we have a class of display, display 4. This is a class of display 4. We now have href, the href here. Then we now have accordion. Remember, accordion third. That is the third accordion. You can now have a database toggle. Then we'll call it collapse. So we have it there. So let's have a font width, say bold. So here now we can now have what we call a class of accordion collapse. You can see, and now have our ID of accordion 3 and the database parent. Then we now say accordion. Then here we now have a class of accordion body. So you can see accordion body. So let's check it out. Accordion 3. So this is the third accordion. So let's see why it's bigger than the rest. Display 4, font width bold. So what do we use display for? Okay, because of I have a 3 character. So let's check it out now. You can see the accordion is working seamlessly. So if you restart, the first one will show because it's by default. So I have to close it first before the order will start displaying. So if we close or if we start it, by default it will show. You can close it and open another one. You can see the accordion, how we achieve this. So this is the Bootstrap accordion. So you can see if you like to remove the decoration, so you can remove that. So or depend on what you want. So let's move on. So I will see you in the next lesson. Welcome back. In this class, we'll be dealing with the two tips. So without further ado, let's start coding. So if you take a look at the screen now, you will see that we have the two tips top, two tips on the right, two tips on the bottom, and two tips on the left. So before we start adding the data to the button, so let's have a break here. Let's have a break because we are adding two tip top to it so that we have a space there. So before we do, so let's have what you call data bs title and say my two tip on the top, excuse me, data bs placement top, data, we have data bs placement, and that's a data custom class, and that's a custom to tip. So if you look at it now, the last one that we have here, we have a data bs toggle, call this to tip. So now if you hover it now, click it, the two tip, nothing will appear. But before anything appear, we have to trigger it. So let's go down and trigger the two tip. So we'll create a script here. We have let my tip is equal to document dot query selector, or you now select, this is how we select attribute. You put your bracket, then we now say data bs toggle, then we now say two tip. Remember, let me show you when we have the attributes. You can see the attribute here, data bs toggle two tip. So this is what we are selecting now. So that is how we get it here. Select by attribute. So two tip. So the next thing we'll have again, we now say my two tip. Then we have my two tip here. Then we have what we call the spread selection. Then we select my tip, this construction. So then we now select map, that is an array, by looping it. So we now have a function called back function. Then we pass a variable here. So we now pass a variable here. You can call it my first tip. You can give it any name. So inside here now we now have what we call new Bootstrap, because we are using Bootstrap. Then we now say tooltip. Then we now pass my first tip. So let's check it out. We have initialize it now. Let's check it now and see if it will toggle. So when we hover it, you can see it's working. You can see our tooltip now is at the top. So now let's go and do the tooltip at the right. So this is the right side. So let's have it data bs title. Say my tooltip at the right. So data bs placement right, data bs toggle to tip, data bs custom class custom to tip. So let's over it. You can see it's at the right side. So you have seen how I achieve that. So let's just copy all this. Let's copy all this and paste it at the bottom. So we can now change here to bottom. So change this to bottom. So let's over it now. You can see it's at the bottom. So the final one, you can have it here now. Paste it. Then you can change it to left. Then placement. Placement left. So let's check it out because there's no space here at the left, so we can add space. If you want to add space to it, we can scroll up and you can just enter here. You can now have, if you can say margin left 5. Remember, okay, it's not the margin that cause it. Remember it wrap. Remember it wrap. So if we click at it, we resize it. You can see if we hover it now, you see it will be at the left. So it wrap. So let's go back. That is the cause. You can see our tooltip. They are all working. So that is the tooltip. So we want to apply tooltip on with HTML. So how do we achieve that? So let's start. Let's paste what we have the other time. Paste it. So let's change it here. Let's say top. Then we now say here now we can now add the title. Now say tooltip with HTML. You can say tooltip with HTML. Then we can now apply what we call bold, the bold element, or the strong. And anyone, let's apply strong because this is the new syntax. So this is HTML5 strong. So we have the strong here. Then we can now type okay, my HTML tag is very bold. So if you over it, you can see that the HTML tag is not working. It's at false. So you can see it's not working. But is to make it to work, we have the data that we apply. We call it data bs HTML. So we change it to true. So when we over it now, we'll see the board will work now. So let's see where we have an error here. So okay, this is it. strong here. Okay, this is the strong data title. I have the strong here. Cool. Data BS HTML. Cool. You can see it's working now. You can see my tag is very bold because we have HTML there. Then if we change it to false, that is by default. Let's check it. You can see it's false now. You can see my HTML tag is very bold. You can see the strong tag appear. But when we change it to true, the strong will disappear. You can see my HTML tag is very bold. So that is how to apply HTML tag to a tooltip. So this is the end of our tooltip class. I will see you in the next lesson. Welcome back, class. In this session, we'll be dealing with the popover. So without further ado, let's get started. So we start with the popover here. So we start here. Let's break it down. We have our data BS placement, call it top. Data BS title, this is my popover. Data BS custom class, it's a custom popover. Then we have data BS toggle, call it popover. So top, okay, correct here, top. Then we now have data BS have placement toggle, so have content. So let's have Lauren. Okay, it won't work that way. Lauren will work. Then we just type I wish I can finish this tutorial on time. So the next thing we are going to do, we are going to trigger the popover. So let's trigger the popover here. We have a script here. So we'll give it a name. Let my tip, or let my pop is equal to document dot query selector, or now have attribute selection, data BS toggle popover. Then we now have pop tip, call it, have our spread here, let's construct it. Then we pass the first variable here, which is my pop dot map. Then we'll call a function, anonymous function. Then we pass a variable here. You can pass anything. Let's pass element, which is the al. Then we now call a new bootstrap dot popover. Then we now pass the el, which is the element on it. So we have triggered it. So now let's check it out. Click it, you can see this is my popover. You can see our popover. I wish I can finish this tutorial on time. So if you click outside, you see it will not go until you click it, which is the toggle. So how to enable, if you click outside so that the popover will disappear, we have another attribute called, let me add it to it, called data bs trigger, call it focus. So if we click it now, if we click outside, you see it will disappear, focus to disappear. Then we also have other one called hover. So you can see when we hover over it, it will show, instead of clicking, to show and disappear. So you can see this is our pop-up. Then you can also add it to the rest. So let's copy the content here. So let's paste it here. So we can add bottom, So now let's get rid of this trigger. So here we have trigger, here we doesn't have it. You click it to appear. So I think there is an error here. Close it. You can see, click this, you can see pop over. So let's copy paste here again. So you can change it to right. So have data placement right. Then we have a data placement button, data placement top. So the last one here, we can now have it, call it left now. So we can have our focus here. So you can see they are all working. So I think there's an error here. Yes. So I wish I can finish. I think I didn't copy. I wish I can finish this tutorial on time. Okay, let me complete it. This tutorial on time. So can I copy it here. Paste it, copy, paste. So if you resize the screen now, you will see it properly. You can see button. You can see this one is supposed to be top. Why is it not showing top? Because there's no space at the top. So let's add break to it, enough break. So let's check it out now. You can see now appear at the top, bottom, right, left. So I want to apply it now to the last one. So if you check it out now, you see the last one, we have the dismissible, which we have done by using the focus on it. So if you look at it, let's paste it and see. So that is what the dismissible does. So let me copy all this data here. so that you see that we're on the same page. So if I comment this, okay, this is a, let me get rid of it. So I comment it now. You can see if I click it, if I click outside, it will not disappear until I click it back. So why it dismiss now, if I click outside, why it dismiss is because of there is a focus. So there's a focus there. So if you look at it, if I click it now, click outside, it will dismiss. So that is what the focus does. So I will end this class now. This is the end of our pop over. So I will see you in the next lesson. This class will be dealing with the mother class in the Bootstrap sandbox. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's enter our class. The class of btn info. You can see the button there. Then we have data bs toggle model. Then we have data bs target. Call it model. So that is our trigger for the model. So in this class here, we have a class called model. If you can see, then we now have an ID called model. So that is our ID. So we have a class of model dialog, class of model content. Then here we can have a class of model header. So we can see our model header. Then class here we can have a model title. So here we can now have a class of btn close. Then let's get rid of this it ID there, because the btn close will represent the it ID. So we now have data bs dismiss model, call it model. So that is that for the model section. Then we now have here a class of model body. So we come to the done, we give it a class of model footer. We have the model footer. So you can see the model how we have it. So we have the model header, model body. So here we have a class of btn danger. Then we can now have a class of, okay, not class, data, bs toggle, no, data bs dismiss, sorry for that, model. So to dismiss it. So this is how we enter our model class. So let's trigger it now. So let's have a break here. Cool. So if we click this model now, an overlay will appear. You can see the overlay has appeared. So we can close it. Let's check what happened to our button. It's not appropriate. So this is close button, btn data btn dismiss modal. So danger. So why is our btn not in the appropriate place? This is the btn here. It's close, or it's supposed to be here. So that is modal. You can use this to close. You can also use this to close. So that is the modal. Data bs dismiss modal. Then we now have our close here. Oh, I said body footer, modal footer. Sorry for that. So look at it now. So it's in the appropriate place now. Cool. You can see our modal is up and running. So let's do the modal in login form. So let's have a button here. So we'll do this afresh. Let's say we want to trigger the login. We can now say, can write here register. Write register there. Then we have a class here. We call it btn warning. You can see it appear. Data toggle modal and data bs target. Database target, can now call it register. So let's add the bs here, lest we forget. So we have the trigger ready. Then here now, so we start afresh. So we can now have a class here. We call it modal. That is the parent element. That is the modal. Then we have an ID, so that you understand what we are talking about. We call it register. So the structure, we are doing it by ourselves. We have a the modal dialog. That is the modal dialog. So next we have the modal content. Good. So this is the structure of the modal, the tree of the modal. Then we now have the modal header. So let me do the structure for you so that you have it properly. Modal body. Then the last is modal footer. You can see it's up and running now. So here now we can now have an h2, h3. Then we can give it a class of modal title. Can now call it register here. You can see we have it now up and running. So then we can also have our button here. So we can give it a class of btn close. Then we have our data bs dismiss, call it modal. So that is up and running. The body, remember we have a form because it's the login that we are dealing with now. Then we can now have our input element. So we can now have our class or form control. Then let's give it a placeholder. A placeholder of surname. So let's copy the input element here, paste, then here we give it other name, then we change here the type here to email. Then let's go down, then we can now change the placeholder to email address. Then here you can change this also, other name. Okay, we have it here, perfect. Then here paste it. You can now say password, the type. You can now say enter password. Then the last one that we have here, then before the button, you can now put confirm password. Then you can change the type again to password, data type. Then let's have our button now. Let's have our button. You can now say sign up, and let's give it a class of btn outline success. Then if we check it out now, so let's click it. Okay, success. So let's click the register. You can see our btn. So now if you look at it now, there is no space between this form. So let's sort it out. How do we have that space? So let's give it a margin. If you enter here now, we can have under this class, can now have a margin button, dash 2, let's say dash 3. Then let's have it. Let's have it in all the elements. Copy, click, hold down your Alt, so you get what I mean. You can add the paste. I can say margin button dash 3. So if you click register now, you can see the margin now. You can see surname, other name, email address, password. You can see it's there, automatic. Register, you can see password, enter password, confirm password. You can see sign up now. So we want to make this sign up and block any mail that will occupy the width of the screen. So how do we do that? So our button, we will have a div here. We have a div here called grid display in grid. So that is all we ought to do. So we copy the button and place it inside the grid. So when we do, we have a block element now. You can see it's in block now. That is how you display your button in block form in Bootstrap 5. You can see our register here. So you can see register, you register automatic and close. So register, if you click here, if you don't want it, you just close it to dismiss. This is the button here. You just click here to register it. Click here. sign up. Let's say I enter my information, John Doe, and I say John, password, email address, you enter John Doe at yahoo.com, enter our password John Doe, confirm password John Doe, then we now sign up. You can see. So that is all about Bootstrap modern. So the footer now, I did not add anything to the footer, but if you want to add something to the footer, lest I forget, you can just add a class of button. You can add a class of button. You can just add it as class btn close, just to have that close. So in case you need it, you now said data bs dismiss, which we have done earlier. You now put mother, so it's nothing new about that. Now if you click here now, you will see, you can see the close. So if you don't want that close, you can just add, close by yourself. If we put this close, what we need to do, we remove this close. So remove this close. You can now say btn danger. So let's check it out. You can see the button now. You can see close here, so you can use this one to close it. Click it, use this one to close it, or you just enter the information and sign up. So that is all about modder. So at least with this now, you have know how to build a modder in your project. So see you in the next lesson. Hello class. In this session, we'll be dealing with the scroll spine in the JavaScript widget. So this will be our last session for this Bootstrap sandbox. So without further ado, let's get started. So in the body element, we have what we call data bs spy. We'll call it scroll. Then we have data bs target. We'll give it any name. Let's call it navbar scroll. Then we have what we call tab index. We'll call it, give it 0 index. So we now have what we call data bs smooth scroll. We change it to true. Then we now have our, we have the three elements there. Then the two elements is 4 elements already: data span, data target, data tab index, and data smooth scroll. Then remember, the data target have to have the hash. Then we move to our navigation, the way we have the ID. Our ID, if you look at it, navbar scroll. So let's go to our navigation. This is our navigation here. Then we have our ID of navbar scroll. Then you can see our link here, which is the welcome, about, and services. So we now move to the various section. You can see the first section, the second section, and the third section, which is welcome, about, and services. So if we scroll now, you can see all different sections: services, about, and welcome, which is the home. So let's go to the first one, which is the home. Then we have our ID here. We call it welcome. Then let's check it out, what we have in our navigation. You can see the navigation is welcome. Then let's go to the about. This is the about. We have the ID. We call it about. Then we scroll down. We move down to the last section, which is the the services. So this is the last services. You can see it's active now. So we can see now. Let's scroll and see the smooth scrolling of this our scroll spy. So let's click this the home here. So the nav bar here, that is the nav bar. So let's do that one. If you want to add it, you can go to the navbar brand to add it to it. So you can see this is the navbar brand. You can also add welcome here so that it can toggle it. So now you can see the welcome is active. You click the about will be active. You can see the about is active. You can see the smooth scroll is scroll. Check the vertical scroll bar here. Let's click the services. You can see is scroll. You can see the services is active. Let's click the nav bar now, which is the title. Let's click it. You can see how it scroll to the top. Automatic the welcome become active. So this is our last JavaScript widget from this course. So we have done with our sandbox in this Bootstrap class. So in the next section, I will be dealing with our project precisely. So I will see you as we start building up our project. See you there. Welcome class. In this section, we'll be dealing with our first project for this Bootstrap course. So let us take a look of the project that we'll be building in this particular section. So we'll be building the bicycle project, because in this course we have four projects that we'll be building. So we have the admin dashboard, the bicycle, the gallery, and the sales. But first, we will first of all deal with the bicycle project. So let's open the bicycle project and see what we'll be building in this course. So it's loading. As you can see now, this is the project that we'll be building in this course. So this is a SPA project, which is single page application project that we'll be building. So from the beginning of this course, I've took you through from this particular project. We've gone through it through the navigation bar, so that I will not be repeating myself again. So this is what we'll be building in this particular session. So without further ado, let's get started. So you can take a look of it again. So this is the home, the service, the gallery, so and so on. So we have the data lightbox, just as we have gone through it from the beginning of the course. So let's get started as we proceed for this course. So see you as the course begin. Welcome back class. In this particular session, we'll be dealing with the first project for this Bootstrap course. So and the project name is bicycle. So I have my project open here with the bicycle folder, which has the image folder, because this will be the image that we'll be using for this entire course. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's create our index.html. Then let's create our doc. Then we have our skeleton up and running. So what we will do next now, so let's confirm if it is up and running as we said. So let's check it out. Right click and click open with live server. So you can see it's up and running. It has opened with live server. So let's go back to our visual code. So you can see the visual code here. So we are dealing with Bootstrap here. So I told you from the beginning of the course that we'll be using the Bootstrap CDN and the Bootstrap file to start coding in our project. So now what we will use for this course, we will use the CDN first, the next course we will use the Bootstrap file. So let's go to our browser. So let's open new browser. So let's type getbootstrap.com. So this our Bootstrap website. Let's click at the document. This is the document of the Bootstrap. So these are the version, any version that you want. So now we are getting the CDN. So let's copy the CDN now. This is the JavaScript and the proper JS CDN. So let's click at it and copy it. So let's go to our Bootstrap here, which is the Visual Studio Code. Then paste it here, paste it at the down side of the body, the close side of the body. So this is our JavaScript. Then let's go back to the browser and copy the Bootstrap link. So this is the Bootstrap link. So let's copy it. Let's copy the link, copy and paste. So let's go to Visual Studio Code and at the edge, so you can paste it here. So you can see. So let's confirm if it is working. Let's have a div here and let's have a class of bg warning, and let's type a just test Lauren. So let's check it out. Let's check it out. You can see it's up and running. So let's get started with our code. So let's check out the template that we'll be coding. This is the template. So now let's create our navigation. So this is our navigation here. So we type, let's comment first. Now say nav bar here. So that is how we comment. So nav bar. So the next we'll be doing, we say navigation dot nav bar expand. Let's use md. Then I say bg info. So then we can now say, fix top. So that is our nav bar. So our nav bar is up and running. So let's have a container. Let's have a container. You know what container is. So the next we have an a tag, have a nav bar brand. So this nav bar brand, this is the nav bar brand. So let's create a div. Let's create a div that will contain the nav bar brand and the logo. So let's have our img here. That is the logo. So let's check our logo. So let's check it out. Our logo, what do you have here? Logo, okay, say logo 1.png. So now say image dot logo 1.png. So let's use that. Then you can just type image. So we can have a class here, a primary class here, so that we will use it to style it. We now say we use the nav image. Let's call it nav image. Then we have what we call bike tech limited, which is the name. So let's check it out and see what we have done so far. You can see the image. Okay, this is not the logo that we are using. You can see the logo that we are using here. So let's change this logo. That's not the logo we are using. So let's save changes, check it out. Good. This is the logo we are using. So now we can see that this logo now, we have a bigger size of it. So we have to create a CSS file. So let's create a CSS file. Let's call it main.css. So this is the CSS file, main.css. So now let's link it. Let's link the CSS file to be at the bottom. Let's link it. change it main.css. You can have a dot point here, all depend on what you want. So main.css. So let's save changes. So we have that class called nav. Is it nav img? So let's check it out what we use to name it. Nav image. Okay, it's nav image, not img. So you can now say, you can now reduce the height. You can now say the height should be 30 pixel. So now let's check it out. You can see it has been reduced. You can see now it has been reduced because of the height. So let's change the height to 50 pixel. So now check it out. You can see the height is up and running. Let's check our prototype. Okay, that prototype height is bigger. So now let's change it to 70. It will be better now. Save changes. Cool, it is better. So now let's go back to our CSS, our HTML. So we have gotten this in the right position. So we have it in the right position. So the next thing we will have here now, we will now have a button. We have a button. So this is the button we have. We call it a class of navbar toggle. You can now have a type. You can now say button. You can have a database target. So this database target, you can call it any name. So let's give it a name. Let's say navbar toggler. So now it's navbar toggler. So there we can still have a database toggle. So we can now call it collapse. Database toggle can now say collapse. So that is our button. Then we now have a span in it. We can now say this span will now have what we call navbar toggler icon. So this is how we do it. So we have the navbar toggler icon. It's up and running. So let's check it out. It's there, but you will not see it for now. So we have the navbar toggler icon that is up and running. So now let's go on to build our navigation. So we'll create a div here. We'll create a div of navbar collapse. Navbar collapse. Then we'll now have an ID. Which ID do we have? Remember, navbar toggler. So we have it. Let's correct it here. Navbar is navbar toggler. So then we have the div there. Then the next thing we have the unorder list. So we'll now call it navbar nav. So that is our unorder list. Then we have the list. We'll now call it nav item. So under it, we now have the link. We now have what we call nav link. So we can now have our hash here. So let's check our prototype. What we have. This is the prototype. We have home, service, gallery, about, and contact. So let's do that to it. So here we now type the home. Then we can now copy all this. Let's paste. and paste. So let's check it out again. Home service gallery about home service in gallery about, let's check it out, home service gallery about and contact. Then the last one is contact. So you can see, let's view it. You can see home service gallery about and contact. So the class is getting lengthy. We will stop the class at this point. So in the next class we will continue where we stop. So see you there. Welcome back. So let's start building up our navigation bar. So let's continue. Let's go to our code editor. This our code editor. So let's add the ML auto to the another list, ms auto. Then in the nav bar itself, we have what we call text, right? So let's check it out now. So have it here. So let's increase the font size of the navigator. Say font size at, let's say 4. Let's check it out. 4 is too much, so let's use 5. Check out what 5 does cool. I think 5 is cool. So let's add our test white. Check it out. Wow. So now let's include the test white to the link. So you hold down your Alt key to select all the link. So we can now have our test white. So let's remove test white. So from the first link now we can get rid of the test white, and we had the active class to it. So let's check it out. You can see it's up and running. Is our prototype. Is our design. So let's make the title bar uppercase and text white. Let's go to the title. This is the class here, nav brand. Then we'll say text white. Font size, give it 4. So now say text uppercase. So let's check it out. Cool. So we are up and running. So the next thing, let's customize the nav bar. We are going to customize it. So the nav bar, say border bottom. So we have what we call 6 pixel solid. Then we'll now add the color white FFF. So let's check it out. Cool. We may not see it now, but when we add the background to it, then we will see what we're talking about. You can see the background here. This is the prototype, and we want to add this background to it now. So let's do that now. So let's go to our CSS. So this is our CSS now. Then we now add what the background to it. So let's check it out if we have a class there. So the background, if you check it, the navigation. So we have the navigation there. So the next thing we are going to do now, we'll have a section there. We have a section, call the section home. We'll give it an ID, call it home. So let's go to our CSS now. Then now have what we call home, then we have the background. This is the background, then the URL, then let's have it now call this is the home background we want to apply to it. img, the image you have here is 16.jpg. So if you check our image here, you will see it there at 16. So that is the image we're applying to it. Then we have what we call background size. Then we'll say cover. So the background size is cover. Then we now give it a height of 100%. So let's check the background position center. So now let's check it out and see what we have done so far. Now you can see the image is centralized, and you can see the border button that we applied to it now that is visible now. So that is how to apply the background to it. But if you check our prototype, you can see it's darkened, but what our actual design now is not dark as the prototype. So now let's do that now, how to apply that in CSS. So we use what we call the linear gradient to achieve that. Then we use RGBA. Then we have 000.6, then comma RGBA 000.6. Then we now have our comma here. Then we have our comma here to separate the linear gradient from the image. So this is the first RGBA. So okay, there's an error here. So the first RGBA should be here, not inside. So good. This is the first RGBA, this is the second RGBA. So there should be separation between the two RGBA. So there's an error there. So sorry for that. So RGBA. So let's check it out now. So where am I having that error? So let's check how to solve that error. So we have the linear gradient, now have the RGBA. There's no comma here, so we're having error. So let's solve that problem. So we're having our error. There's no comma here. So let's check it out. See. Okay. This is where the comma is supposed to be. So let's check it out now to solve that problem. So that problem is solved now. So let's check it out. You can see it's darkened. So now the next thing we're going to do is to apply this button to it. So how do we do that? So let's go to our index. So this is our button. This is our button here. So let's have a div here. This is a div. This is the div that we're having here now. So let's have a container. Let's add a container. Then we can now have our button. It's our button. So let's check what we have there. We have speed bike. So now type speed bike. Remember, they are all caps. We can now apply our caps. Test uppercase, test white. So let's check it out. So let's our button. So we're not seeing our button. Remember that we apply the face stop. If you check it out now, you will see the full stop here. That is why we are not seeing the button displaying on the screen, because the button is hidden beneath the navigation bar. So let's solve that problem. How to solve that problem? Because we need to apply what we call margin top, then we learn say 5. So let's check it out and see if our button will be displayed. So the button is not displayed yet because the margin here, the margin at the bottom, margin top. So let's take it to the button itself. Let's put it at the button. Margin. So it's not displayed. So let's add the margin to all the elements on the screen, including the container. That you can see now the button has been displayed because the button is hidden beneath the navigation bar. So what we are going to do, if you check it out now, the button is a bigger button and is centralized on the screen. So let's solve that problem. So if you check our button now, so we can now add what we call the BTN edge. So let's check it out. So BTN edge, so we can now apply padding. Padding S, let's apply 5. So padding S, let's say 4, and padding Y, let's say 3. So okay, the height is much, so let's use 2. Let's use 2. Let's check it out again. Let's check the prototype. So let's check this. So if we want to say, we can apply the font width bold. So let's check it out. You can see our font width now is now bold. So let's centralize it now and put it in the appropriate positioning on the screen. So we have the button. So inside the container also, let's have what we call another div. It's called the div. So if you check our prototype, this is our prototype. We have lorem. Let's just generate a test. Let's generate a test, call it lorem. Let's say 15. Let's have generate test. So this is it. Then we can now add a font size of 3. So let's check it out. Let's check the prototype. Let's see. So let's increase the text again. Lorem. Let's add like 7. Okay. Now we can add the text white. Let's check it out now. Cool. So now let's centralize it. So this is our container. If you look at the container here, so let's centralize it. What we have to do now, we have to apply a div here, call it test center. Then we'll now copy this button and place on it. So let's check it out. You can see the button is centralized now. So the next thing we are going to do now is to move this downward. So how do we achieve that? So let's go to the parent element here. You can use the parent element here to achieve that, but we are going to create a test here, an ID here. We'll call it group. So customize that. So let's go to our CSS and say group, paste. Then you now type margin, or let's use padding top. Let's say padding both sides, padding, let's say padding. So at the top we apply what we call, let's use 70 pixel, while left and right we use 0. Then let's check it out. You can see it move downward, so let's increase it to 100 pixel. So let's check the prototype. You can see the prototype. So let's still increase it. So it doesn't mean that we must have everything accurate. Cool. I think we are okay with this. So let's move on. We can also add padding to it. So let's add padding to the left and right of the group. So let's say 30 pixel. So let's check it out so that we see, you can see the group or the container. You see is the padding. So let's increase it so that it will break into 3 lines. So let's add 60. Cool. You can see now it's now break into 3 lines. You can see it has been broken into 3 lines. Cool. So this is the prototype. This is our design. So let's reduce the top to 130. Think we're up and running now. Let's add space between the speed and the text. So we can now go to our HTML now. So we can now add our text here. You can now say padding bottom. You can now say 5. So let's check it out. Cool. I think we are done with this navigation bar. So if you look at the button, you see the button is not big enough. You can increase it. You can see if you check the font size, is there any font? There's no font size for the button. So if you want to increase the font size, you can now add FS3. So let's check it out. Cool. Take the button now is good to go. So the next thing we will do now is to apply. If you look at it, there's an iconic font here. So we apply it to this iconic font and the title. So let's do that. So that we will not forget, you go to the title here. If you look at it here, the link here. So let's go to the title. You can see the title here. You can have the link. This is the link. So instead of style sheet, you can call it icon. So instead of here, you can now link the image of the logo. Call it logo 2. I think logo 2. Save changes. So let's check it out now. You can see the logo is there. So we want to change this title. So there are 2 ways of doing that. Either you change it direct here. Change it direct here. Call it home. Or you use JavaScript to toggle to achieve that. So let me show you how to do that in JavaScript. So you can add our script here. So inside the script, you can now say document.title. So I want to change that title now to Bootstrap. So let's check it out and see. you can see the bootstrap has appeared. So that is the two way of doing that. So let's get rid of this. So this is our home page. So the next we are going to deal with now, so is the service. So I will see you in the next lesson. In this section, we will start building up the service. So you can see this is the prototype. This is what we'll be building. So let's go to our code editor. So we'll create a section, call the section, give it an ID, called service. So that is an ID called service. Then we have the container. Always have a container. Then we now have a row. So we have a row. Then inside this row we have four section. If you can take a look of it, you can have a four section of card. So that's what we'll be doing now. So let's get started. Then we have what we call column MD3. So that will be, then we now have card, call it card. So this is the card that we have. Then we now have img, which is the image, then which image are we applying here? We are applying the image, the first image. We have the 16 image, that's 16. Then we have, just call it image. Let's check it out. You can see the image is there. Then before doing that, we have to apply what we call the heading. If you take a look before we move further, because I'm too fast, so on this heading we have to apply it to it before the card. So let's apply that before we forget. So let's create a div here. We call it service. Then service. So let's add the text uppercase, text white. Then we now have bg dark. So let's check it out. You can see. Then we apply the text center. Then can now apply the padding of 5. So let's check it out. Cool. See our prototype. So I think 5 is awesome. So let's change it to 4. Then font width, font size. Apply font size of 4. Let's check it. Font size of 4. Look at prototype. Okay. Size of 4. Prototype. So let's check it out again. So I think we are good to go with that. Let's check our prototype. Prototype is wider, so let's take it back to 5. Check it out. Wow, it's too big. So I think we cannot use that, so let's stick to 4. Stick to 4. So you can see we have done with this. I think we'll have it this way. This is the prototype service. So you can now increase your font size. Increase your font size to 5. Okay, 5 is too small, so let's use 3. Use 3. Check it out. Okay, I think this is okay now. I'm okay with this. So the next thing we are going to do, so in this row now, then we'll have the padding. So let's add the padding to it. Let's add padding 4, so that we'll have a space. Good. Check the prototype, there's a space. So let's increase it to 5. Use the padding. Cool. It's appropriate now. So increase it to 5. So we have our image up and running. Then there is a class we apply to the image here. We call it now call it card img top. So you can see it now. Card img is at the top. So this is our prototype. So let's move on. So the next thing we'll be applying a, that is our card now. Can now apply a card. Let's apply a div. Div of title. Can I say card? I say card title. So let's check our title. What is our title? The title here is hard bike. So let's call it hard. Let's use call it hard bike. So let's check it out. You can see your prototype hard bike. So up and running. So let's add a padding. Let's add a padding 3 and test center. So that is it. So we can now have our card test. So let's check it out what we have there. The prototype. We have the Lorem. We have the Lorem Himson. Let's have Lorem Himson, Lorem 15. So let's check what we have and see. You can see it's okay. Then we can pad it. Pad S. Can now add 3. You can see the pad S is 3. So I think we're up and running. So let's proceed as we have done with the test. So the button now, we have the button. What we'll be applying to the button, then we'll correct here. This is the button now. We can now create a div of the grid. So we can now have our button here. We can now say class of btn. What is the btn we have? I think the first btn is btn outline warning. Btn outline warning. Then we now have by. I will now have the del. So let's go inside the btn. We can now create 2 span. Or let's create del here. So the del, I think let's check the product. The product is 220. Then the other product that we have here, we have the $sign. We have the $sign. which is buy. Let's type the buy there. I have the 150 buy. So let's check it out. You can see the dollar sign is not there yet. So let's next thing you do, let's also pad it. So let's pad it. Let's pad it. Pad X. Let's add 2 to it and see. So I'll use margin X, not pad S. I think margin S. Cool. Is the margin S. Let's just use margin, okay, all over so that you have it well. Cool. I think it's appropriate now. Let's check our prototype. This our prototype is. Then let's add shadow to it. Let's add shadow to our card. You can now apply shadow. You can see the shadow now. So we have the shadow LG, shadow MD. So you can see the shadow. I think this is okay. So we have our shadow. This is our prototype. You see we are up and running. So let's bold the text. Let's bold the text and say font width. Excuse me, bold. You can see it's bolder now. So in our subsequent class, we will apply the dollar sign to it, because the dollar signs will have to import the CDN of fourth awesome to it so that we can apply the dollar sign. So I will see you in the next class. So we start applying the dollar sign to our buy product of the bike. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to go to our web browser. So this is our web browser, and then we'll type font awesome 5CDN. Then font of 5CDN, just click at the install manual font awesome docs. Then you click at that. Then it will load. Then you scroll down. You want to copy the link, like the CDN link, the style link of the fourth awesome. These are scripts. So let's go down. So you can see load all style. So use the CDN picker to figure out which CDN URL, which is the info resource locators, and integrated key you want to use. Make sure you have selected the web font. So now this is it. Then just click and highlight it, highlight it, right click and copy the CDN. Then you will now go to straight to your code editor. You go to the top, you can see. So after the CSS, the Bootstrap link at the bottom, then you can now paste it. So this is our fourth awesome. So to confirm if the fourth awesome is working, so you can just come to down here. Let us type span FAS FA Facebook. Then let's FA is B, FAB for Facebook. So let's check it out. If it's working, you can see Facebook, which is our fourth awesome, is working. So our fourth awesome is working. So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of the Facebook. Then this is where we are applying the fourth awesome. So we have to apply our span here. Then we now have a class of FAS FA dollar. Get rid of this dollar sign. Let's check it out. Cool. You can see our dollar sign is there. So let's get rid of the space. So you can see we have our dollar sign up and running. So the next thing we'll be doing now will be duplicating this column, that is this column 3. So let's duplicate it. Ensure that you have the appropriate column selected. Copy, duplicate into 4. This is the first one, that is 2, 3, 4. So we have it up and running. So let's change the first one, have it where. Then the second one, let's change the second image is 11. So let's check our prototype. You can see they are all up and running. So let's check our prototype. This is our prototype, our soft bike. So let's change the heading to soft bike. So let's check. We have buy, so we can change the price. So say I buy of 150. So all the price are same. So let's go there and add it. So let's check the delete. What are we deleting? 250, 400, and 450. So let's do that now. 250, 250. Let's change the image here to 12. Yes, 400. Then yeah, we have 450. 450. Then we have I think this is, let's check it out. We have the medium and large bike. So the last one is large bike. Then this one is medium bike. So let's check it out. Let's check our work. You can see we have it up and running. So the button, we have to adjust the button. I think we have different type of button. We have the primary, and the dark and danger. So let's do that. The second button, this is the second button. First, second. So where is the BTN? So this one just primary, BTN, primary. So right, this one will have dark. Then there, the last one is called danger. So let's check it out. So this one, we have to check out what is the problem of the second button. Which is the primary. So where is the problem on the primary? Okay, some typographical error there. Primary. So I think it is done. Cool. So you can see our button. So let's check this. It's up and running. So let's check it out. You can see the shadow. The shadow is there. So that is all about the service section. Let's check what we'll be building next. We'll be building the gallery. So see you in the next lesson. In this section, we'll be dealing with the gallery. So this is the gallery, the page we'll be dealing with. Let's check our prototype. This is our prototype, which is the gallery page. So let's apply that to it. So let's go to our code editor. So let's go to the section. You can comment. You can say gallery start here. So let's add the section with gallery. So section gallery. So section gallery is up and running. So we can now have our container. Then before the container, we have a div here. We have a div here. We'll call it gallery. Then inside that div, we can now have, let's add h2 display dash 4. Then we now say gallery. Then we can now have a class of test center. Test center. So let's ensure that our internet is connected. So let's check it out. Our internet here is fully connected. So we have it. So let's have the BG. Let's use info for the BG. So let's check it out. So gallery display is too much. So let's reduce the display to 3. Let's check it out. Display is too much. So let's change it to display 1 since we have the H3 there. Okay, 5. I think 5 will be okay. Then we now have font width. Let's say bold. Font width bold. So the font width is bold now. So I can now change the text to white. Check it out. You can see it here. So gallery. So let's remove the bold so that it will look like the prototype. Okay, good. So let's add our gallery, change it to capital letter. Then we have our gallery. Then we can now have our padding. So we can now have padding 4. So let's check it out. So padding. Let's say padding 5. So let's apply the padding to the H turret. Cool. I think this is what I'm looking for. So let's reduce the padding now. I think this is awesome now. So padding 3 will be more appropriate. Good. I think this is more appropriate. This is our gallery now. So it seems that let's change this H2. Let's change it to H4. H4, I think H4 is cooler. H4 is too big. Let's change it to H5. So H5 is good. Now can I say display? The display should be 6. Okay, it's okay now. It's more appropriate now. This is our gallery. So check our prototype gallery. So let's check service. They are all caps. So let's change all to capital letter. Gallery. So this is our gallery. We are up and running. You can see we are up and running. So let's increase the padding to 2 to 4. think it's okay now. So we have done with our padding. So let's check our prototype. The next thing we'll be dealing with is, if you look at it, when we click at it now, you will see this awesome light bulbs. So this is what we'll be applying in our next class. So I will see you as we start applying our light bulbs gallery to our gallery section. So see you there.